Hey guys, Connor Richards of PokerNews here at the 2024 WSOP in Las Vegas, and this is Life Outside Poker. My guest for this episode is poker streamer and content creator Kevin Martin. Kevin is the winner of Season 5 of Big Brother in Canada and has done a bunch of other reality TV projects. He also has another exciting project coming up that we'll get into today. All right, Kevin, well, thanks so much for coming in during the WSOP to do this. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Hey, welcome. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited as well. PokerNews podcast, baby. It's a staple, you know?
Yeah.
I love talking to you guys, and we got a lot to talk about, I'm sure. There's so much going on.
Yes, it's true. So, yeah, this is actually Life Outside Poker, focusing on the person, you know, kind of more than just the poker player, and I thought you'd be a great person to talk to with content creation, reality TV, all of that. So maybe let's just start at the beginning. A lot of people, probably most people know you from Canada's Big Brother, but how did you get into reality TV in the first place?
Yeah, okay, let's go deep. Scrape the poker off. Let's go deep. Okay, this story is really cool, actually, and not many people know it like this, but true story. I was a 15, 16-year-old, kind of in the Hicks in northern Canada, like in the middle of nowhere. I grew up in the middle of nowhere. And I had this feeling like I didn't really belong, like I needed to do something, or I had this deep feeling, and I had no idea what it was. I was 16 years old, and my grandparents were watching an episode of Survivor. They were watching an episode of Survivor, and I looked at it on TV, and I was like, what is that? I was so drawn to it. The competition, the storytelling, the excitement, the adventure. I was like, what is that? I was obsessed. Something instantly. It was like a pure love. And at that moment, I was like, that's it. I was like, that's it. That right there is what I can do. I was like, I can do that. So when I was 16 years old, I went and in my journal, I wrote down like one of my top goals for life. Get on and win a reality TV show. I wrote this down when I was 16 years old on a piece of paper, and I manifested it. It literally happened, bro. Like my dream came true. So yeah, that's kind of the start of it. And it's been a crazy ride in the reality TV world.
Do you still have that piece of paper framed somewhere?
No, bro, I lost it. I lost it in one of the many moves. We moved around a lot when I was a kid, but I remember it so vividly, and it's like, it's one of the purest moments of manifestation that I actually have in my real life for sure.
Yeah, well, so you manifest that when you're 15, 16 years old, and then how old were you when you went on Big Brother for the first time, like 22 or something?
Yeah, I was 22.
Like
they finally put me on. I was knocking on the door for years. As soon as I was eligible when I was 18, I was like, hey, put me on your show, put me on your show. And they're like, get out of here, kid, for a couple years. Finally, they're like, all right, here you go. They let me free, and yeah, the rest is history.
How'd you not get discouraged from getting rejected? How'd you just keep persisting?
I just knew it was going to happen. And this is a cool thing where, like, you know, people talk about poker. They're like, poker is a game that can be beaten if you have discipline, if you study. I studied reality TV casting. So when I went when I was 18, 19, they said, no. I was like, what's going on here? I have what it takes. And it's like, finally, I got to learn what's going on here. So I went online, I went deep into forums. I bought a book called How to Get Cast on Reality TV. It was actually by Dan Giesling, a former Big Brother legend in the US. He wrote a book on the casting process. And I understood it after actually doing the work and understanding the system. It's just like anything else in life. I didn't change my personality, but I just like kind of juiced some steroids. I just presented it in a different way that made more sense. Sure enough, it worked, and they put me on. So it's like, I really believe almost every system in the world can be studied, and there's edges everywhere, even in reality TV casting. So,
and you've done different reality shows. Are there differences between each show? Like, is the strategy for getting cast on Big Brother different than doing a different show?
The casting is kind of similar across the board. You have to be a net positive EV for the production, basically. They give 16 people a chance to go on the show. What are you adding to the show? You really have to understand that. And basically, you have to present yourself as a plus EV play to them. So the casting is kind of similar. The shows independently are all wildly, wildly different in their own trippy simulation in their own way. But yeah, the casting, if any poker player wants to get on a reality TV show, like, my DMs are open. You can send me your tape, and we can, for free, I would look at it. And like, that's an open invitation to anyone in the poker world. Because I've talked to a lot of people who want to go on Big Brother, The Trader, Survivor. I could definitely increase your odds, I think, if I look at your tape.
So as far as being plus EV for a show like that, what are the traits that make someone a good person to be cast? Probably good looking, smart.
No, it's whatever your story is authentically. So for me specifically, I went to them and I was like, hey, the first year I talked to them is I'm smart, I'm attractive, I'm cocky, and then they didn't put me on.
Like it.
So I learned when I went back, I'm the smartest person you've ever had on the show. Everyone else is an idiot. I'm so hot. Like you have to put your personality on steroids. Basically, I was a cocky little guy, and I kind of got what's coming, and they voted me out on the show as well. But I would love to see some more poker players rep, especially Survivor. Poor Garrett kind of had a bad run. Poker players have done great at Big Brother, but we haven't cracked the Survivor code for some reason. So I would love to see that happen.
Yeah, you mentioned Garrett. There's a ton of big people in poker who are also big in reality TV.
Yeah.
People like Boston Rob, JRB.
Yep.
What do you think's the overlap there? Is it the strategy involved in both games? Like, why are so many poker players good at this?
The main overlap is just a desire to compete. At the core, poker players love the competition. They love the mental stimulation. And there is nothing more stimulating than these shows. Think about it like this. It's like we love games. Well, reality TV shows are multi-million-dollar games that they set up for you. There's hundreds of people that spend all year working to set up a simulation where you get to go and compete. There's nothing more stimulating. Like, I've had intense moments in poker, like $100,000 pot versus Dean Eggs. That made me, in terms of intensity, that hit about a 5 or a 6 for me. These reality shows, 10 out of 10. It is the most intense thing I've ever done in my life across the board. So that's the overlap there, is like we're just kind of like, we love games at the core.
You mentioned that you got voted off on season 3, but you had redemption because you came back and you won for season 5. And prepping for this, I was watching a clip from that, and you were very emotional. Seems like that was probably one of the, best moments of your life, would you say?
It was for sure. So again, like I got voted off the first time and they invited me back, and my win in season 5 was pure will in connection with the universe. And I really believe that. I was not supposed to win that game. And I truly willed it into existence because I needed that so badly in my life at that time. I was 25 years old. I was in a pretty bad place, and there was a lot of pain going on in my personal life. My family had just been through some horrible stuff. It was in the middle of some awful battles. And I just needed it. I needed it so badly in my core. And the universe gave it to me in this beautiful way. And it's just like, I get goosebumps just talking about it because it was so special. It was so special. And it's even more special as the time goes along. And it really means so much to me. Yeah.
What kind of doors did that victory, or just being on Big Brother in general, open up for you?
Oh, crazy, dude. Yeah. Cause then, I was hanging out with Jamie Staples. I was hanging out with some poker content creators, and that just boosted everything. So instantly after that, I was playing small stakes on Twitch. I was playing like $10 tournaments, and I was one of the biggest viewed streamers in the world because of these avenues, these doors. I got a early sponsorship with PokerStars. Like, it just blew the door open. Now, I truly believe when the door is open with opportunity, you have to match it with, again, intensity, work ethic. I had all those things, but it was just this beautiful path it sent me on for sure. So it's really cool.
So let's talk more about, poker and, of course, poker streaming. That's another place where a lot of people know you. But when did poker come into your life?
Yeah, again, I talked about that moment where I had a primal connection with Survivor. I hated 9-to-5s. I wasn't interested in anything. Every job I had was really annoying to me. I loved entrepreneurship, and I was looking for a business, something. So I was a radio announcer. I was 21 years old. I was a radio announcer. Just knew it wasn't for me, dude. So between sets, I'd be like, this is Nickelback on Rock 106, right? And then after that cut was over, I'd be on the computer Googling things, trying to find something. And I stumbled across poker, and I was like, wait, I remember playing this. I remember, the boom. I remember rounders, my friends talking about it. And again, I dived into it. I said, let's go for it. I dived into it. And again, I had this primal connection with the game where pretty quickly I was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to go after. And 10 years later, I remember I was grinding 1-2 no limit, working a radio job on the side. And every day I would look at my bank account. As soon as I had $10,000, I was like, I'm going to be a pro. I'm going to take a shot at it. Called my family. Everyone was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, everyone's like, bro, the couch is open when you need it, was kind of the sentiment. And then I haven't had a normal job since. And I talk about a normal job. I've worked harder at this industry than I have at anything else in my life. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's no doubting that, streamers, you're kind of always going. You did a challenge where you were streaming 24 hours a day, so I don't think anyone would question your work ethic, Oh,
thanks, brother. Some people do.
Maybe some people, maybe the haters in the comments. But did you always plan on doing streaming along with poker, or did you initially start playing poker and then thought, hey, here's an avenue for content creation?
Yeah, so the first year and a half of my poker career, I just played 1-2 no limit in the casino full time. And in Canada, it was a combination of low rake, good games, deep buy-ins. It was very good for the skilled players. I crushed it really hard. 1-2 no limit. I had 14 straight winning months. I never had any red. One month I only won $200. I was like, what's going on? But every single month it was like $3K profit, $4.5K profit. It didn't work out to a super high hourly. I think I landed at $23, $24 an hour, played 1-2 no limit. But like, I'm living the dream, bro. I'm a pro poker player or whatever. And then again, shout out, it was Jamie Staples, man. Jamie Staples came to me when I was 23 years old, and he's like, I'm going to start a Twitch stream. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? I was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, we're the best 1-2 players in Alberta. Let's just make $25 an hour for the rest of our... I really thought that was it. I thought that was what my poker career was going to be. He's like, no, I'm going to make content. I'm going to live stream. I was like, you are wasting your time. Nobody's going to watch. It's going to flop, and you're going to come back to the casino in a month, is what I told him.
What year was this? How far back is this?
This is 2014. It's 2014. He blew up. He was the first person to put effort, and along with Jason Somerville, from his basement, he started streaming, and he got thousands of viewers every day. And then he got a PokerStars sponsorship, and I was like, wow. I was like, wait, how much is your sponsorship? I was like, how much? And then I was like, oh, I need to do that. Quickly after him, I started making content as well, just because he blazed the trail.
And something about, streaming poker is, it's probably not always the most interesting thing. Playing MTTs, it can be hours at a time, can be card dead or whatever. How do you keep an audience? How do you keep things interesting?
Oh, dude, I don't think it's boring personally. I don't think it's boring. I'm sitting there playing 6 tables. I play pretty high stakes online now. So like, to me, it's stimulating.
Yeah.
And I mean, the numbers show that people like it as well. There's a certain flow to it. It's always like, poker's the most important thing, making those decisions, playing well, deep runs, but then sliding in some comedy, some other interesting moments. It's certainly a skill. And often you'll see a crusher, you'll see a really good player who's high level, but is so boring to watch, right? It's tough for somebody to come along to have this skill as a poker player and the skill as a content creator. And then those are the people who blow up. Those are the Spraggies of the world, or the Tonka P's, or myself. Lex Veldhouse, all those legends. It's that you got to have it all. You got to have it all.
And is it difficult, staying locked in the tournament while also, trying to be entertaining for the camera?
Yeah, dude, of course. Yeah, I mean, that's something I've had to work on for a long time. When I started, I was playing micro stakes, so I just kind of leaned into my personality, being a bit of a buffoon. But we've evolved since then. You have to show the evolvement, and I've worked really hard on my poker game to now compete at the high stakes online. And we're not the best in the world, but we can go there and bang pretty hard. So now I would say I lean towards the actual skill portion of the game, but I still love to be entertaining and stuff. But people want to see the evolution. Oh, this kid was playing $5 tournaments and he was a fish. Now he's playing an average buy-in of $300, and he's deep all the time, and sometimes he punts, he'll make incorrect calls, he'll show emotion, but at least there's that evolution there that people remember, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The World Series, people always like, hey, dude, I remember when you were like such a bad player. It's like, you still go back to that place sometimes, but yeah, I love the OGs that have followed my story.
And you mentioned some of the OG vlogger or streamers like Jason Somerville and Jamie Staples. Poker vlogging and content creation and streaming has changed a lot since then. Who are some of the up-and-coming people who you've been paying attention to? Yeah,
it's really, I mean, there's been waves, and like there's legends like Brad Owen kind of broke it open 4 or 5 years ago with his stuff, and he was cutting edge, and Andrew Nemi. But now the new kids, Frankie C. Have you seen this guy's videos?
Yeah, Frankie's great.
Oh my God, this guy made a video about having a baby. He told He made a poker vlog about having a child, and I cried. It was the most beautiful piece of content. GPI Awards, he has to win it. Content piece of the year, Frankie C. His baby video has to win it. I'm telling you now, he's unbelievable. He's trying to make movies out there. And Corey, the network series, Corey, I can't pronounce his last name, but
Corey Eyring, is that?
Yeah. These guys really inspire me, and I'm in group chats with them and trying to learn from them. You know, I've been around the block for a long time, and I have my own skill set. But those are the two guys that they blow me away with what they produce.
Yeah, both good people to look out for. It's kind of crazy. You talked about, talking to Jamie Staples about this back in 2014. Mm-hmm. It's been a decade now. How has the streaming landscape changed? Yeah,
it's gotten more competitive. Back in 2014, if you were on the cutting edge, you could load up, if you had a decent mic, a decent computer, and a webcam, you could get viewers. It's not that easy anymore.
Like
that. It's much more saturated. It's saturated, but it is still uncapped. Nobody has hit the true ceiling of what's possible in poker content, and that's why those young kids pushing the edges is so inspiring to me because, poker is a little niche. It still has the potential to blow up to the mainstream. There's still, it's very possible someone on YouTube could get 5 million subs, 6 million subs, you know what I mean? So it's saturated, but the sky is still available is how I look at it.
And how do you manage to not be burnt out? Or, I don't know, are there days when you don't want to go on stream and you cancel it or something like that?
Yeah, totally. How do I avoid burnout? I go shoot a new reality TV show.
Yeah.
So a lot. I lean into... the thing that keeps me sane is I always say if I'm sleeping, eating good food, and have some sort of communication or love in my life, I can go the distance. There's guys who will play 6 days a week. There's some female streamers that will grind it out as well. I 2 days break. I need to get outside, dude. I live in Calgary, Alberta. I'm a bit of a cowboy. I need to go to the mountains. I need to see the sun. I love analyzing big blind versus button 3-bet spots, but I got to balance my life, and I've learned that about myself really well.
Yeah, balance is definitely important. So looking at your YouTube channel, you do a lot of really fun poker content. One thing that stuck out was the prop betting you did with Jungleman. I think it was doing 100 bets in 100 hours. Yeah. Talk about that project.
Oh, man. Well, last year I just had a creative wave where it's let's do some crazy stuff. And so I really wanted to push the boundary. And, shout out to Adam here behind the mic. I've made a lot of videos with him. We did a video where we came to Vegas. I tried to win a tournament without looking at my cards.
Oh, wow.
And it was really fun. It got a lot of attention. That was great. Again, I hit up Jungleman. Hey, dude, do you want to gamble? He's like, yeah. I was like, let's do a video where we make 100 prop bets. The video took 3 days to film. 3 days to film. We bet on who could crack our knuckles the loudest, who could go on the roller coaster the fastest, who could drink water faster, who could blow up. We just bet on crazy stuff. I absolutely destroyed him, by the way. Jungleman, is a poker god, but at prop bets, dude, he's an absolute fish. He's really bad at this stuff, so we got the better of him there, but the content piece worked out, really nicely. Right now I'm a little more dialed into poker, streaming, playing tournaments right now, but I go through these waves where I'll say, let's just try to make the craziest thing possible that nobody's seen before.
Let's talk a little more about that, trying to win a tournament without looking at your cards.
Yeah.
How did that go?
Yeah. Poker is much more fun when you look at your cards, is what I learned. When you don't look at your cards, it kind of just sucks.
Yeah.
It's a big advantage to look at your cards. And every hand you play in poker, you have the ability to look at your cards. I highly recommend that you take that option. Most people do. And it's a smart play. We're going to run that back, by the way. There's such a skill game. I didn't know my hand, but sometimes I'm in position versus these, I'm in the $60 daily trying to win a tournament, and I was just I made a final table. I was chip leader one point. I was chip leading a tournament without ever looking at my cards. The skill is there. It's really, really difficult, but it's not impossible.
It seems like that would be a good way to, flex your live tell muscles. You have no information from your cards. You just have to get it from other people. And you said you had the chip lead at one point in final table. Making it happen.
But as soon as they learn, you know what I mean? You're not looking at your cards. As soon as you get caught and you turn over the random 2 and it's the 10-5 or something, they catch on pretty quickly and you lose your image. But yeah, it wasn't impossible.
Yeah, that seems like that would be key, is to not let them know that you're not looking at your cards,
100%.
but then you get to showdown and they wonder what you're doing.
One time I turned over pocket sevens and I was like, it was a miracle. I actually had a hand random.
You actually had a big hand or something. Yeah. What are some other fun things you've done over the years that stand out?
Dude, I'm just like, the poker community is so cool and so many fun things. I mean, let's talk about Game of Gold a little bit. Can you talk about this show?
Yeah.
Like, crazy, dude. Just a couple years ago. So I've been riding with GG, number one, poker site, number one company in the world. Talk about innovative. Talk about pushing the boundary. GG's like, let's throw a couple million at Game of Gold, and it just absolutely hit. So there was secrets, there was rumblings around the poker world. They hit me up. There's like something special happening. We're flying 16 bosses out to Korea, and we're going to create a poker game show. I was like, oh my God, please. Like, and the production on that was so cool. I was so heartbroken, Connor. Me, Jason Kuhn, Dean Eggs, Michael Soizia, stone stacked, like actually stacked.
Yep.
There was a moment after the draw was Jason Kuhn kind of like laughed, and he's like, there was a little bit of a cocky air around us, which is like, oh no, we should have been humble. We should have been humble and locked in, but it just wasn't meant to be. So heartbroken for the show that we lost like Daniel, and I would have brought some villainous storylines to the show where, the show was incredible. I think the cast maybe missed a little bit. You got to have personalities on that thing, right? You got to have people like that'll like talk a lot of shit or whatever. Some people there were more poker players and not entertainers. I think next time you got to straight across the board 16 entertainers like Botez, and just like people that are going to chat and be chatty. But what a cool innovation for the poker world. And I hope it evolves, and I think season 2 is going to film sometime soon as well. I would love another shot. Daddy GG hit me up, of course. That was a cool one. What an experience. And in hindsight, if you watch the show, I played bad. I was nervous. I had this sense like I didn't belong. Mm-hmm. I started playing 1-2, and now I'm sitting across from Daniel Negreanu. I'm like, holy shit, I've made it. But I had this like deep sense I didn't belong, and I failed, and I learned from it. I learned from it so much. I gained so much valuable insight. After that show, my mindset flipped, and I've been crushing ever since. So it was like cool. I believe you either win or you lose, and when you lose, you must learn. So it was one of my best learning moments in my poker career for sure.
Yeah, that's got to be super intimidating being put on a team, probably the most stacked team on the show, Daniel Negreanu, Jason Kuhn. And you've talked about Jason Kuhn before and said that he's, one of your poker idols, or you really look up to him. Was that a pretty cool experience getting to play with him? Yeah,
it was super cool. Dean Eggs and Kuhn specifically, I really look up to this guy because he's a similar spin-up story. Like he came from nothing, and I think he willed it into. I think his journey in the poker world was one of the. It's one of the best examples of pure will and manifestation. He willed it into existence. It didn't happen to him. He made it happen through his will, and so I always really look up to him. I was so nervous, bro. Like, they're my two idols, and then I just wanted to do so good for them. But just hanging around with them for a couple days, just soaking in their knowledge and their experience through osmosis, it was the best thing, Season 2. Maybe everyone loves a comeback story, bro, So I think that's going to happen sometime soon.
Yeah, well, so there has been talk of season 2 in the works. There's obviously a lot of people in poker excited for that. Who would you like to see in the mix on season 2?
Yeah, we need to get a couple other big influencers from other markets in there as well. I got to put Botez in there. She's a new ambassador with GG Poker. I'm just going to slide myself in there. Like, I would go stir shit up so hard. Other people, I think a couple of new people in the younger generation, dude, we just need personalities. A couple of villains as well. We need some villains in there. Like who's kind of. I got to put Helmuth in there as well.
Helmuth would be good.
Helmuth would be good. I think you should slide Dean Eggs in there again. Give me some time to think about an actual cast, and I think I can come up with 20, 25 people that would be an absolute slam dunk.
Some villains would be a good idea.
I think you slide Maria Ho back in there as the defending champion.
Nice.
You don't want to give too many people a second chance, but Maria Ho is the champ. Can she go back to back? There's a storyline there as well. Yeah.
Talking about the casting from last year, who do you think were the standout stars?
Josh Aria brought it. He was the one I would say was most willing to take a villainous tone. Olga really brought it as well. She was a standout female, and Jungleman was really good. Jungleman's just going to be himself, and he's going to make good TV. Those are a couple people that pop to the forefront of my mind for sure.
And I remember a couple months, or I think it was while it was still airing, but WSOP Bahamas was taking place, and you, Josh Aryeh, Daniel Negreanu, Maria Ho, all of you were down there. Mm-hmm. It seemed like there was a lot of camaraderie between all of you. Do you think that you have like a common bond with all these players now?
Man, again, I was on the show for like 10 seconds, so I think I missed some of that. I think they bonded a little bit more, but yeah, they're so sweet. The true nice people and the true, I think, secure, happy. There's some people in the poker world who have success, they have the big cashes, but I think they're deeply unhappy. They tie their security and their personal well-being to their status in the poker community, and that's a slippery slope. But like someone like Maria Ho, shout out to Maria Ho, I did so bad on the show, and I was in so much pain, and I didn't know her really. She made an effort to like reach out to me. She got my number. She's like, Kevin, like, are you okay? She gave me so much good advice. So someone like her, I'll always respect. Like, she didn't need to do that, but she took the time. So yeah, definitely some camaraderie, on the show as well. Charlie Carroll was on there as well.
He was fun.
Of course, like, not many people in the world get an experience like Game of Gold, so it definitely bonded people.
And even though you went out in the first round, I think you definitely had an edge on that show given your experience from things like Big Brother. Mm-hmm. What sort of edge do you think the reality TV background gave you on a poker show that's also kind of a reality show?
Totally. I definitely had an edge, just an experience of doing it a couple of times. It didn't actually do that much, though. I thought it was going to be a little more of a game show. I thought there was going to be some secret immunity idols. Mm-hmm. If you watch the show episode 1, I'm like tearing up the set.
Yeah.
I'm like literally, I thought there was going to be a secret power. There wasn't anything, like a second life or a rebuy or something. So I thought it was going to be a little more gamey like that. It turned out to be a little more pure poker, which I think for season 2, like, let's get some votes going. Let's get some secret powers going. Let's get some epic other game mechanics going besides just poker. But yeah, I think, if I got my feet under me, I could have done a little bit better for sure.
And you mentioned that was filmed in Korea. Given that, you were out in the first round, did you at least spend some time in Korea exploring or having an experience?
Dude, I did. I a day and a half, but I was so mentally shocked. I was distraught. I was mentally in a different place because it was like, I was heartbroken, bro. It was my dream. I thought I was going to go on there. I thought I was going to kick everybody's ass. I thought I was going to win the $500,000. I was probably, one of the poorer people on the show. Like, the $500,000 wouldn't change my life, but I mean, that's serious cash. And then it just didn't go your way. So I got to go back to Korea and take in the country a little more because mentally I was in a bad place after I lost that.
No, that totally makes sense. So I mentioned WSOP Bahamas a little bit ago. Yeah. You actually had a deep run there. That was back in December. And you had, I think, your biggest live cash in the main event. Is that right?
It was really close, yeah. WSOP Bahamas main event, caught fire, was playing really well, deep in the zone, and final couple tables right there, man. Bracelet, $2 million up top. Wow. Had some nice, like some big scores, but the 7-figure score I haven't had it yet, and it was right there. It was right there. It's a really deep run. You can watch that on my YouTube channel, by the way, Kmart Poker on YouTube. I documented the entire run. Day 1, day 2, day 3, I'm right there, bro. It's $2 million. It'll happen. I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen, but that was really good. Cash for like 75, 80K or something.
Nice. Yeah, people should definitely check out that video. I was there for PokerNews live reporting. I remember the deep run. Yeah. I can't remember. How'd you end up going out? Was it a brutal ending?
Yeah, I played a hand bad. I took a reshove spot. This is a thing I always battle with as well as like, growing up as a content creator in this space, I kind of always had to like prove myself as a no limit player. I always had this deep sense of like, yeah, I can make content, but I can bang too. Like I've worked so hard on my game, so much studying, theory, simulations, mental work. I've invested so much to be a competitive poker player. And there's this ego that flares up sometimes where I'm like, I got to show you. This guy 3-bets me, well, I'm going to 4-bet shove, or like, I'm going to take it to the streets. I got to show people. I've had to let that go, dude. If people want to think I'm a bad poker player, that no longer should have an effect on me, right? That's kind of an ego-based thing. So, yeah, I was just like, this guy was opening a lot. It's a really good reshove spot. I have the king-jack off. I looked it up later. It's supposed to be king-queen off plus or whatever. It's close. But again, final 3 tables, I should just like drop the bottom hands. I should Phil Hellmuth it up a little bit. Just take those bottom hands that are probably not making a lot of EV and let them go. I reshoved the king jack right into the aces, and it kind of just, I was really disappointed with that bust out hand after a really well played tournament.
Yeah, you did play really well in that. It's super interesting you say that you kind of feel like you have to prove yourself. Do you think that maybe content creators don't get the respect that they deserve, or people, think, oh, you're just a streamer? Or
yeah.
What's the root of that?
Of course, you know what I mean? Like content creators, especially the successful ones, are making multiple sources of income away from poker. So the general consensus is in the community that these guys are goofballs, or like, you know what I mean? That's what people are going to think. Where I've always made an effort to always develop my no limit skills as well. But it's okay, you know what I mean? If people want to think I suck, like, tell everyone I suck. Like, let me go play on No Gamble, No Future. Like, where's my invite to high stakes poker? Like, tell everybody I suck. I've sacrificed that ego and like let it go. Where I'm just going to trust my ability, make the best content possible, and that's it. We're on a great trajectory, right? I don't need like. And again, the true great players in the poker world, the true people I respect, they're not deep in the comments being like, yeah, that wasn't a 3-bet shove. Like, what are you doing? So. It's okay.
Got to ignore the comments for sure. As far as improving your poker game goes, or studying, what's some general advice that you can give people? I feel like a lot of people want to study or improve at poker, but they don't know how to attack it.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually made a couple of videos on this as well. The first thing you have to do is diagnose where you're at. I would say you could generally split up everybody into 4 sections. And you got to diagnose where you're at. Are you a baby in the poker world? Do you know the hand rankings? Do you know the basics of like positional play? If you're at the true start of your poker career, I would push you in the direction for certain content or certain education. Because if you take somebody like that and throw them into a training video, they're going to be lost, confused, disoriented. You really have to know where you're at. And that's where like a mentor, who's the best poker player in your social circle? Ask them questions like, ask them where you should start. Again, I made very specific videos on this where I diagnose you to where you're at in your poker journey, and then I point you in the right direction. There's not one answer for everybody. So again, I would look at those resources.
Yeah, great advice for sure. And people should check out your videos on the subject. Let's talk about some of the recent things that you've done. Earlier this year, you had a big story that we covered at PokerNews. It was your 500-hour bankroll challenge. You were trying to go from $0 to $5,000. You ended up stopping the challenge, but it was very entertaining. You had a 24-hour stream going.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a whole ordeal, very tough to do. What was that like for you?
It's crazy, man. It was crazy. Again, I was in this creative phase, and I talked with my team, like, let's do something crazy. What's the craziest thing? We brainstormed on a whiteboard for a couple weeks, planned it. Poker from zero. It's a great concept. You're in a room with a computer. You have $0. Go. Can you make it? Can you spin it up? Because a lot of people can relate with this situation. Now, if you're actually in that situation in real life, like,
don't play poker.
Go get a job. Go get a job. Don't try to start poker from zero. But it was like so cool. We set up a simulation, and the coolest part of everything is we turned on the camera and we never turned it off. It was a 24/7 live feed of me playing this game. It was a self-made simulation. I was sleeping, I was on camera. I took a shower, I was on camera. Like, it was so unique. And I'm so proud of this project.
Yeah.
Now, the point of the game is I hit $5,000 and I win, right? That didn't happen. Before we even turned the camera on, me and my production crew, there was 2 options for the game to end. I hit $5,000, I win, it's over. Or we time out at 500 hours. 500 hours is 21 days. At that point, that's all we paid our people for. That was what our Airbnb was for. That was the end of the game. I can't stay in there for 6 months. You know what I mean? And it was so cool. We got it going, bro. Like, honestly, on day 3, I had this tournament sweat. It could have ended in 3 days. Like, I was so close. But it didn't happen. But that's okay. Like, I ended at like around $1,000. I went from 0 to 1,000. I was profitable in the poker. I ran so bad, bro. I ran so bad. One of the worst runs ever, but it's okay. We inspired some people. We got some haters. Like, the content project did exactly what we wanted. It was unique. It was special. It's one of my favorite things I've ever done. I would have loved to win the $5,000, but doesn't always go that way. Again, sometimes you have to accept the L's as well. But overall, it's a huge W. Nobody's done something like that. I invite someone else, dial it up. Do you think it's possible? I would love to see someone else take a crack at that simulation game, but it was really cool. What a fun project that was, Connor.
It was super cool. It was super fun because you see a lot of bankroll challenges, but the 24 hours thing really made it, really was an interesting spin on it. So what was your strategy? It looked like you sold a couple of things, so then you have a bankroll, and then what sort of tournaments were you playing? $1, $3?
So the game is you start with $0. Back in the day, you could maybe play free rolls to get it going. It just wasn't, we got to get the show going. We got to make a show. What am I going to sit here and just eat ramen noodles all day? So we had some rules where you start at $0. I started with a small amount of belongings. So I went and pawned a couple of things just to get that little bit of ember. So, I pawned stuff. I got $200, and from then it was purely poker. I went a little aggressive and learned my lesson. But then I really started playing $3 tournaments, $5 tournaments, $10 tournaments, and grinding it out. It was really cool. We peaked at 1,500. I was right there, bro. And then it fell apart. And I started going delirious as well. These are not conditions that are set up to play good poker. If you want to play good poker, you should rest, you should meditate, you should be in your own energy. You know what I mean? I was 24/7 on a camera. People don't understand, in front of thousands and thousands of people. People don't understand the psychological effects of that. And also at the same time, I'm producing this show. We're in a self-made TV show. So the psychological effects caught up with me, and day 14, day 15, there's this moment on the stream, I just start crying. Bro, I couldn't see the cards. I was looking at my computer, I was like in this weird state where my eyes the cards were blurry. I couldn't even see my hand. Like I pushed myself, my mind, and my body as far as it could go, and it just didn't work out in the end. But again, what a cool content piece. I'm just like, the balls to do that, I don't know.
Yeah. No, totally. It seems very emotionally demanding. It reminds me of The Truman Show, great movie. But it'd be hard to be on camera all the time and people seeing your vulnerable moments. That's cool, though. Do you like being able to be vulnerable for your audience?
Totally, absolutely. Because a lot of people aren't. A lot of people make content. They get edited. They get to present whatever. I've always, because of my situation where I came from nothing and I purely spun it up in the poker world through poker and content, I don't want to send the wrong message. I don't want to send the wrong message to some 24-year-old kid who is like, this is easy, gets in it, degens their money away, and they go bankrupt. You know what I mean? Yeah. I've always wanted to present a very authentic view of the poker world where, hey, it is possible. It's a difficult thing to do, but people lose. I've always made it I always show my losses openly and honestly, and I think that's very important. We have to present the true story of the message. I do like showing that to people, and I think people really appreciate it as well.
I think so too. It's definitely...
It'd be very easy to fake it. A lot of people are. It'd be very easy to, hey, just sweep these losses under the rug.
Probably pretty tempting too.
This vlog didn't go my way. I kind of played bad. I lost money. Let's just cut that one. But I always throw it out there and let people make whatever judgment on it they want.
And have you learned that audiences tend to appreciate that authenticity?
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. They can sense it, and they don't want it. The audience is super intelligent. They know when you're bullshitting them. Like their senses are really good. So I've always let it fly. Pretty. You see it like it is.
How about other things that you've been working on? So earlier this year, you announced a social media hiatus. You kind of went off the grid for a little bit. But by the time this interview here airs, there will be an announcement about a new big project you have coming up.
When does this air? June 18th? June 19th?
It'll be June 19th.
Let's talk about it, bro. I just went and competed on the coolest game show. I went on the Amazing Race Canada.
Wow.
It's going to air this summer. I was gone, no cell phone for over a month. And what an adventure. What a stimulating mental game. I went on with my close, my baby, Gerline. Really close, been dating for a long time, totally in love. And we went and competed, and it was just like, it was the adventure of a lifetime.
So she was on it too?
Yeah. We met on a different reality show, and we joined forces for this one. And woo! Wow. If you're in the poker world, you got to find this TV show. We let it fly, and so many people on this show kind of have been scared. If you watch the Canadian version of The Amazing Race, for so many seasons, people played it scared. They played it tight. We went on there, and we let it fly. We were stealing people's cabs. We were trying to hack all the game mechanics. We were loud, obnoxious, we just went and we lived a villainous life, and it was a wild adventure. People have to watch this show.
Yeah, and so is there going to be a trailer for it coming out, or what information are people going to have about that before it airs later this year?
Yeah, the show drops July 2nd.
Okay.
There's going to be some teasers and stuff, but it airs once a week in Canada, and you can definitely find it on some sites online. It's going to be a wild ride. I can't wait to see people. We let it fly, man. It was... I can't say anything. Because the show needs there. I can't spoil anything, but tune in is all I'm going to say.
Yeah, we won't spoil anything here, but definitely one people should tune into. Where would this rank as far as things that you've worked on in your career?
Right at the top.
Right at the top.
You know, Big Brother Special Traders, Game Gold, but this one was this is it. This is the final chapter. I've had this crazy run of reality TV. This is the last go. This is the finale. It all accumulates in this. Like it was so special.
Sounds like it'll be a good one. But you've also transitioned a bit. You do casting now, is that right? For reality shows?
A little bit, you know. I'm always in the world. You know, I'm close with a bunch of Survivor people. The world kind of evolves together. Once you do a couple of shows, you see each other at events and stuff. But that ship is sailing. This was the final chapter. And I've gotten everything I've needed from these experiences. I got the win one time. I've lost. I've learned so much about myself. So yeah, we're kind of, you know, just dialed into poker right now. That's all I really want to do is play and make the best content for the poker world.
Well, it's great that you're dialed in for poker, especially now that it's the summer World Series of Poker. What are your plans for this summer? You got a full schedule?
I just want to bang off that bracelet. Just every, we got extreme media coverage thanks to GG. They just we have this extreme ability to film now at the World Series. So every hand I play is being shown on my YouTube channel, and then just trying to capture the glory. There's so many legends here. I walk around. It feels like everyone's back in the poker world right now. It's a really special time. It's kind of booming. So I'm just trying to soak it all in and win some money.
You probably already had a lot of people coming up to you and recognizing you in poker, either from poker or Big Brother. Has Game of Gold added another element to that? Do people know you from that?
It has, but they're usually hey, from Game of Gold, yeah, you really lost, right? That was sometimes. I got a lot of haters out there as well, but yeah, man, you're covering every single event. What's kind of PokerNews' mentality right now for covering the World Series?
It's a lot. It's always a whole big ordeal. The live reporting, I think we do a great job. There's so many events to cover. We're not doing as much day one coverage and focusing more on the storylines that emerge late in tournaments, just kind of resource allocation. But also, there have been a lot of big stories so far this year. There was Men the Master, a scandal there. There was marked cards.
Wait, Men the Master was in a poker scandal? This happened?
Can you believe it? Can you believe it?
Yeah. Oh my God! How do we let some of these scumbags play, man? Where's the regulation of the game, dude? Ali is Immersivic, RTA legend, like the king of real RTA. He's just allowed to play. He's just allowed to play. How are these guys allowed to play? They stole millions.
Yeah, no, it's true. You mentioned Ali. That was another story, is that he's playing in this, and of course he was. It
just seems so wrong, man. It's just they literally stole money. They cheated. And there's proof, you know what I mean? We have proof, we know this. How are they allowed to continue when they took so much money out of the poker economy? I know it's tough because if you start axing people, it's who makes that call? I understand that's difficult. To me, it just doesn't seem right,
So what do you think the solution is for things like that?
Yeah.
Because there have been poker integrity councils.
Yeah.
There's also venues that could take action. Or, maybe it's on the players to kind of, give these players a hard time at the table when they show up or whatever it is.
Totally.
How do you approach it?
The Poker Integrity Council, almost like a democracy, the poker community, we can even vote. Let's elect 10 to 15 people that have great reputations, that are ethically and morally sound, that understand the situations, and that we can trust. If we put together a large Poker Integrity Council, again, it's tough to get people to commit their time and energy. We can bring cases to them. We can bring hard evidence, just like court. They could look at it, and then they decide, and we respect that. We elect these people, and they have the final decision. You know what I mean? I think there has to be something, because if we let shady people just fly free in the poker world, it's they've already shown their true colors. They've already shown that they have no morals, and they're gonna take money when they can, right? And then it also sends a message to other people that like, oh, they can get away with it. 80 years ago, if you did this with Doyle Brunson, there were severe repercussions. And we don't want to talk about what those were. There has to be something.
Yeah, definitely an issue, and people are being more vocal about it. We'll see where it goes. Just a few more questions as we wrap up here. Appreciate you doing this. These are just kind of more general ones to get to know people a little better. But what's something in life that motivates you?
Ooh, that's a great question, Connor. Can you answer that as well? What's your
I've
answer
thought
to that?
about this as
what
if
motivates
people,
you?
Farrah Galfond was the first person I interviewed for this podcast, and I really liked her answer. She said that young people gave her hope. She said that she thought that they're very empathetic and understanding, and she just kind of sees that the young people have the right mindset and the world's going in a good, positive direction. So
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good answer.
I love that. That's a really good answer. What motivates me? The ability to bless people and make impact. Like my grandparents my grandma just recently passed away, which was really sad. And, as to help the mourning process, I was able to give my mom a lot of money for her new house she's building. Something I wasn't able to do a decade ago. I was literally able just to write a huge check and give it to her. And like, that made me feel so good. Like I love helping people. I really do. The other day, this kid had no money. He was at the lemonade stand, and I was just able to buy him a $5 lemonade. Literally not a huge thing. But I saw happiness through this kid I was able to help. And it's just like that. There's no better feeling for me in life. So I want to get as rich as possible. And I really want to help as many people as possible. I don't buy Rolexes. I don't buy cars. I'll drive a beat up car forever. Like my ability to impact positively and really make a difference in somebody's daily interaction. That's what motivates me every single day. Yeah.
That's really great. And what is a piece of advice that you'd give to a younger version of yourself?
Oh, toughen up. Stop crying. Oh, whatever, you lost a tournament. Oh, whatever, you lost a TV show. Like, feel the emotion. Don't suppress your emotion. Feel it, but then wake up the next day and go be a savage once again. In everything you do, just attack every single thing with 100% intensity. If you work hard every day, if you show up with the pure intentions and you give everything, the universe is going to give you amazing things. It will not deny you of your dreams. It will give it to you. So, yeah, that's what I would tell my younger self.
Great advice. All right, last question. Poker is a great game because it can be related to so many different areas of life. I think once I started playing poker, I just made so many connections with different things. What's your favorite life lesson that can be drawn from poker?
Favorite life lesson? Ooh, that's a really, really good one. Favorite life lesson overall?
Whether it's bankroll management or dealing with variance or not being results oriented or whatever it is.
Yeah, the greatest life lesson from poker is that if you control what you can control, it'll work out for you. Yeah, there's so much out of your control. Just like in life, there's massive swarms of energy around you that you have no impact to what people are thinking, other people's actions. But if you stay true to yourself and you're confident in your actions, your ability, if you focus on what you can control, things will work out for you in the long time. Just on the poker table, it's exactly the same thing in life.
Great advice for poker and life. Kevin, this has been fun. Thanks for coming in and doing this.
Connor,
Good
man.
luck this WSOP.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Appreciate that. Really send the run good, bro. Come on,
Yeah,
bang it off.
It's
Let's go.
sent. It's sent.